Good day everyone. So here is another video again in which I'm going to we are going to solve a word problem regarding the transportation model. So as you can see here is a problem and then wala pa siya nakabutang dito sa table, no, sa transportation model. So what we're going to do is to fill the table that we have, and then we will answer this using the first three methods that I've already presented to you, namely the northwest corner rule, the minimum cost method, and the Vogel's approximation method. Okay, so here it is. Let's have first the northwest corner rule. Okay, let me just fix this first. Okay, so what we're going to do first is to fill in our table. So take note, class, during your examination, what I'm going to give is a word type problem in which you are going to fill in the details of the table. Okay, so first, the Fraser Silver Mine Company has 2 operating mines and 3 distributing warehouses. Okay, so the source here is the operating mines and the destination is the distributing warehouses located in different parts of the country. The company ships the ore by trucks. The capacity of mine A is 500 tons a week and that of mine B is 1,300 tons a week per week. Now take note of this. Mine A and mine B is our sources. Okay, they are the operating mines, so we will have to put here from mine A and mine B. Now take note of their capacity, so that means it is their supply. Okay, so how much is the supply? Let's have this first. Okay, so for mine A, accordingly, it has capacity of 500 tons. So you put here in the supply 500. Okay, and for mine B, it has a capacity of 1,300, so that is 1,300. So in total, we have a total supply of 1,800. Now next, the weekly sales potential of the 3 warehouses is 1,200 tons, 500 tons, and 700 tons. Okay, take note, we have 3 warehouses, the warehouse 1, warehouse 2, and warehouse 3. Now, accordingly, they have this weekly sales potential. So that means it is their demand. So how much is that? For warehouse 1, 1,200, warehouse 2, 500, and warehouse 3, 700. Okay? Now, class, let us compute for the total demand. So that would be 1,200 plus 500 plus 700. So that is 2,400. Now, take note that as part of the assumption of the transportation model, di ba kinahanglan equal ang ato ang demand and equal ato ang supply. Now, in this case, mas dako ang demand kaysa sa atong supply. Now, possibility is dili tanang warehouses ma-fully satisfy ang ilahang demand. But take note now nga since one of the assumptions of the transportation model is dapat equal ni sila, so that means if dili sila equal, then we cannot solve this one. Okay, dili na to ma-solve, no, using the method. So what are we going to do? Is to make either a dummy source or a dummy destination. So class, if ever, mas daghan ang supply kaysa sa demand. So diba, meaning kulang ang destination. So that means magdungag taog additional destination. Okay? On the other hand, if mas daghan ang demand kaysa sa supply, so that means mas daghan ang customer nga ninginahanglan kaysa sa capacity or supply sa ato ang sources. So in that case, we will add a dummy source. Now in this case, since mas daghan ang demand kaysa sa supply, so we are going to add a dummy source. Okay? So I'm just gonna put here dummy. Okay? Or actually, you can put X. Okay? But, okay, ano na lang, X. Let X be our dummy source. Now, take note, since that is a dummy source only, meaning it is non-existing. So, that means there is no cost for that. Okay? But before nato ibutang ang cost sa dummy source, let us first put or fill in the other missing tables. So, you have here, the shipping cost per ton from each mine to each warehouse is given below. First, from mine A to warehouse 1. So, it is here, that is 8 pesos. Okay? Next, so take note ha, kung ano siya actually, this is shipping cost times 1,000 pesos. Okay? So, this is supposedly 8,000. Pero, for purposes of problem solving, then we are going to reduce it na lang. No? Kay para dili kayo daghan ang numbers nga to ang i-answer. But, in our total cost, it should be multiplied by 1,000 pesos. Okay? Next, from mine A to warehouse 2, that is 13 pesos. From mine A to warehouse 3, that is 9 pesos. Next, mine B to warehouse 1, that is 11 pesos. Mine B to warehouse 2, that is 14 pesos. And mine B to warehouse 3, that is 5 pesos. Now, our last source is a dummy source. So, what are we going to do here? Still, magbutang gyapon tag cost, but that would now be 0 since this is non-existing. Okay, ang purpose lang nato ani is for computation purposes. But take note that in our decision or in the computation of the total cost, we will not include those that were inputted on the dummy source. Okay? Kaning mga gipang input nato nga naa diri nato na siya yapil sa total cost. Okay, so let's start. Northwest corner rule, take note, we will start with the very north and the very west. So that is A1. Okay, so what we're going to do is to fill in this table as much as possible. So i-compare nato 1,200 versus 500. Of course, mas gamay ang 500. So we will put here 500. Fully exhausted na ang supply ni source A. So, you already put there 0. Okay? So, next, since di naman ta makamove dito sa right, move ta sa ubos. Now, pila na lang ang kulang sa demand, that is 700. Pila pa ang supply, 1,300. So, you put there 700. And then, this demand of warehouse 1 is already fully satisfied. After we go to 700, we go to the right. Okay. So, you have there 500 versus pila na yung nabilin ani 1,300 ba ni 700, that is 600. 500 versus 600, that is 500. So, fully satisfied na ang demand ni warehouse 2. Next is we move to the last. Okay. Now, we have here 700 versus pila may nabilin ani 1,300. Then kani siya, this is 1,200. So, nanay nabilin sa supply nga 100. 100 versus 700. Okay, mas gamay ang 100. And then, we go downward. So, pila na kulang? For destination 3, ang kulang na lang is 700. Pero, pila kaha ang supply ani ni dummy source. By the way, we forgot to input this one ganiha, pero actually okay ra karon pwede pod sa sugod pa lang ato nang ibutang kung pila ang supply ni dummy source. Now, pila man ang supply? Since 1,800 raman ni, ang demand is 2,400, kulang siya og 600. So you add there 600 para ang ato ang table will be balanced. So that is now 2,400 each. Okay? So balik ta kani nga cell, pila na kulang ni destination 3, 700 minus 100, so 600 na lang wala pa na satisfy. And then ang supply ni X or dummy source is also 600. So you put there 600. Okay? So next is to compute for the total cost. Pila kahato ang total cost? We have 500 times 800 plus 700 times 100 plus 500 times 14 and then plus 100 times 5. Now, take note, walay labot ang dummy source. Okay? Kay it is non-existing. And even if you include that one, wala ra gyapon na kay 0 man gyapon na, no? 600 times 0 equals 0. So, di natin na siya i-appeal. Okay? So, our total cost is 19,200. But take note that it should be multiplied with 1,000. Okay, so butang na to dire ang ato ang total cost. It should be 19,200 times 1,000. So the total cost would be 19,200,000. Okay, 19,200,000 if we are to multiply it by 1,000. So mo ni ato ang total shipping cost. Okay, so that is for the northwest corner rule. Okay, now let's then proceed to the minimum cost method. Okay, so ato na ni i-close. Let's focus now. Okay, let's focus now on our computation. Okay, so let's proceed to the minimum cost. So remember sa minimum cost, ang ato ng pangitaon is unsa ang pinakagamay nga cost. Okay, so first, sa may pinakagamay, di ba, among them all, that is 0. Take note ha, apil gihapon ang dummy, no? Kamo man na atong purpose nga nung gibutang nato siya. Dili lang nato siya apilon in computing the total cost. But in our decisions, i-appeal lang gyapon nato siya og consider. Okay, so in this case, the minimum cost is 0, but take note we have 3 zeros here. So, to be uniform, what we're going to choose is katong pinaka left. Okay, so you have there 600 supply, 1,200 demand. We can only satisfy 600. So therefore, at this point, fully exhausted na ang dummy. So that is now 0, 0. Next, kanina lang ato ang pilian. So, sa may pinakagamay, that would be the 5 pesos. So, 700 versus 1,300, we will put 700. So, therefore, fully satisfied na si warehouse 3. So, you put there 0. Okay? Next, kanina lang upat, the least or the minimum cost is 8 pesos. So, pila na naman ang kulang ni warehouse 1? 600 na lang. Pila pa ang supply ni source A? 500. 600 versus 500, we shall put 500. Okay? So, fully exhausted na ang supply ni source A. And then we have the 2 remaining cells. Of course, mas gamay ang 11. Pila na lay kulang? 1 2 minus 600 minus 500, that is now 100. Pila pa'y sobra dire? Naapay sobra nga 600. So, 100 versus 600, that is 100. And then lastly, pila gali to? You have there 500 versus 1,300 minus 700 minus 100, that is 500. So, 500 ang supply, 500 ang demand. So, this is now our table for the minimum cost. Okay? Now, for the total cost, how much is our total cost? We have 500 times 8 plus 100 times 11 plus 500 times 14 plus 700 times 5. Okay, so that is 15,600. Okay, now next is to multiply it by 1,000. 15,600 times 1,000, that is 15,600,000. As you can see, compared sa northwest corner rule na 19,200,000, our minimum cost method, 15,600,000, is less than the northwest corner rule. Okay, so that is for the northwest corner rule and the minimum cost method. And then lastly, we have the Vogel's approximation method. So remember this one, this is also known as the penalty method. So we are going to compute for the penalty of each route. Okay, now let's start with column 1. For column 1, you have there that 2 least cost is 9 and 8. So that is 1 peso penalty. Here, we have 11 and 5. So that is 6 pesos penalty, and here we have 0. Next is, for row 1, you have there 2 list cost, 8 and 0. Next, we have 13 and 0. And then we have 9 and 0. So that is 9 pesos. Among them all, unsa ang pinakadako nga penalty? That would be 13 pesos. So what are we going to do is, since under man na sa kanang warehouse 2, i-fully satisfy na to ang warehouse 2. Where do we start? We start from the least cost. So since 0 ang least cost, so i-satisfy sa na to. So you have there 500 and 600. Mas gamay ang 500, so you put there 500. Fully satisfied na si outlet 2, so put there 0 and 0. Okay. Next, column 2 and row 2. Okay, so first, that is still 1 peso. Second, 11 and 5, that is still 6 pesos. And third, that is still 0. Okay, here we have, that is still 8 and 0. This one, that is still wala na, so X na. And this one here, that is still 5 and 0. Okay, this should be 5 and 0. 5 and 0. So that is 5. So which has the largest penalty among them all? 1, 6, 0, 5, or 8? We have 8. So we have to fully satisfy warehouse 1. Okay? So starting with the least cost is 0. So pila man ang kinahanglan? For the demand, wala pa yung na-satisfy. So, that is still 1,200. For the supply, na-exhaust na ang 500. So, nanay nabilin nga 100. 100 versus 1,200, the lower amount is 100. Okay, but take note, we do not stop here because we have to fully satisfy warehouse 1. Let's go to the next least cost, that is 8 pesos. So, pila na ang kulang sa demand? We have 1,100 versus 500. The least one is 500. Okay, wala pa na fully satisfy ang 1, 2. Napay kulang nga 600. 600 versus 1,300. So that should be 600. Okay, so take note, for source A, fully satisfied na. So this should now be 0. For dummy source, fully satisfied na, so this should now be 0. So, naanalay isa nga wala pa, automatically, kung unsa ang kulang, diri na ito ibuta. Pila ang demand ni outlet 3? 700. Pila ang supply nga nabili ni source B? 13 minus 600, that is also 700. So, you put there 700. So, how much is our total cost? Okay, for our total cost, we have 500 times 800 plus 600 times 11. Sorry, 500 times 8, 600 times 11, 700 times 5. Okay, wala na. Okay, we stop there. So, our total cost is 14,100. But take note, we have to multiply it by 1,000. 14,100 times 1,000, that is 14,100,000. So as you can see, northwest corner rule, 19,200,000. Minimum cost, you have 15,600,000. And finally, pinakagamay, Vogel's approximation method, 14,100,000. So class, unsay tendency ani atong table? If ever kanina ang optimum table, so nga niyang mahitabo, from source A, iharang madeliveran is si outlet 1, 500. From source B, 600 kang warehouse 1, 700 kang warehouse 3. So that means, si outlet 1, sa tinuod ana magkulang siya og 100 kay dami source man ni. So meaning, magkulang siya og 100. Si outlet 2, dili siya ma-deliveran. Okay, kay dummy source man ni. So that is the effect of this one. If ever, dili balance atong supply and demand. Okay? So, that is my comprehensive example or illustration for the transportation model using the three methods for the initial table. Stepping stone method video will be followed. Okay, thank you for listening. And that would be all. Goodbye, everyone.